most talked about man in Scottish football these days, Mick Kennedy. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
This is unbelievable. I've got him in it. I don't know about a pull last night. I spoke to you last night, mate, to get you on, didn't I?
Oh, down to you, my man. All down to you.
How's it been, mate, the last 48 hours for you?
Hectic, to be honest with you. For some strange reason, I know after the game, I didn't expect it to be what it was. Just I don't know why I didn't expect that, but I woke up at 8:30. I think I had 19 missed calls on my phone already. Oh, yeah. Then it was just media after that, just interview after interview.
He was on with the wee baldy bastard Andy last night, wasn't he, on the radio?
Oh, were you?
I was on the hand. No, he's very good.
Was he
very good. He's very good. Aye.
You weren't every night. I was expecting to see you on fucking Love Island last night.
Aye, but you have got see what with the hair, man.
Oh, my fringe has got pelters in the last 24 hours and all.
Higher fringe.
Probably me, I was expecting.
At least you've got a fringe, isn't it?
There's some drilling down there, isn't there? Stephen London there.
Who'd be drilling him?
George, isn't it? So what I was going to say is, I was listening to Talk Sport.
Could you have that handle to it once?
No chance. Too small, isn't it? I was listening to Talk Sport and Alan McCoy said it's the biggest upset in his lifetime. That is incredible, mate, isn't it? Do you think it is the biggest? I mean, that's a wee bit maybe harsh on you because you did play some football, but do you think it is one of the biggest upsets in Scottish football?
You're talking, what, 6 tiers?
6 tiers.
6 tiers. When was that? When was that? I think that they're talking about Ayr versus Elgin back in 1960, whatever it was, but in modern day football, I've got to say a giant in Scottish football in Aberdeen, which they are, but they were an even bigger giant back in the 80s for what they achieved in European football. But for Darvel,
I couldn't believe the price going, mate.
What was it?
Was it on night?
We were at 50s and 40s early on, aye. I don't know.
I'm not just saying this. If you look at the Premiership, I didn't think Aberdeen were a certain one.
Everybody you were talking to was like, it's the last place Aberdeen want to be going to.
I knew how they played, mate, and how the kind of situation Aberdeen are in just now. I've watched Aberdeen the last couple of games, look short in confidence, and I said, the last place you want to go. Because I knew that they wouldn't just kick the ball up the pitch and kind of play in Aberdeen's hands. They'd go and pass the ball.
I'm so excited to get into it today, but we're not just there yet. Kevin Kyle, the sponsor, the day size, unbelievable. Kevin, take it away.
It's our good friends Jones White. John.
That same pulled it.
It's our good friends at Jones White. Operating in the UK, Jones White are a multi-service law firm with experts in personal injury and medical negligence claims, family law, dispute resolution, conveyancing, immigration, wills and estates. Just head over now to joneswhite.co.uk or follow the link in the description below to find out more on how they can offer your support any legal matters you may be facing.
It's not just finished there, Si, not just finished there. They're absolutely #1 in the whole wide world for divorce settlements. So if anybody's trying, I know you're close, a bit rocky the new with some of the stuff. You have been coming with a lot of stuff about Lynn recently, haven't you?
Aye, it's what
has the word divorce been mentioned?
The word divorce hasn't been mentioned, but a couple of words along the lines were, I don't need you anymore, are mentioned.
The only reason she's not divorcing to is because he'll take half her money, innit? 40%. I got Capaldi in his taxi yesterday.
I picked him up twice. Got a job, his address, and it came up Lewis, and I thought, I'm sure he lives there. And then he came out the house.
Never recognised him.
Older, and I recognised me.
He's got his cup still, hasn't he?
Got his cup, he left his bottle.
He left his bottle, his name.
He's got Lewis on his cup. So he's been printed Lewis and then dropped him off and then dropped somebody up at the uni and then I got another job to take him home and then I just said, look Lewis, take my number. If you need chauffeur about the town.
He's never done that.
That's a smart move, isn't it?
It was a smart move.
Is he a good tipper?
He gave us a score.
Did you get an earning with it? Aye,
it was only a £4 fare and they gave us a score. 24 quid. So, but he was signing. I'll tell you what.
Did he get tickets for his show last night?
No, he didn't. I didn't ask. He's looking good by the way. He's after drink. Looking really good. Got a bird.
I've seen he said that he's got a bird.
He's buzzing. I said to him, I know he got left the tour, and he said a few weeks left in the UK, then Europe, then America, and then he said something about then just live the life of a superstar.
Brilliant, and it's
feeling everyone because he actually sang in the dressing room. He was terrible, wasn't it?
Voice was all over the place.
It was very
nervous and often.
He watched the Hot Wings Challenge.
Did he? He'd be right up for that.
He thought you were amazing at it.
He's flying to be fair, isn't he? Absolutely smashing it. 100%. He seems a good lad.
He's a great guy.
Unbelievable.
I like to see good people doing well, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Like your man, do you know what I mean?
Do you? Not too sure about that, by the way. Okay, if you listen, just
you kept texting me saying, I hope Aberdeen we got it.
You're right, you know who's been at that. Whether that offside by right then, that's a shocker, isn't it?
Oh, it's horrific.
You're listening, Si, we'll get on to Mick and we'll get on to Darvel because it's an unbelievable story, but the main team in town won't go Broomhill playing Rangers B next Tuesday night. Now Rangers first team only played, so for the Rangers fans, get yourself down, see the young talent.
Come and abuse us because they've got abuse
slaughter us,
but we didn't mind it. Come
Give
and
the wee
abuse
man
us.
abuse, and because that's a cracking jump, please, will it? Mick, would you wear that?
Certainly not.
So listen, Mick,
Mate, man, people like that.
so tickets are on sale now. Huge game at Broadwood. We're going to go for it, si, aren't we? As always, mate.
Definitely, mate.
Yeah,
Have
you
you actually used Darvel's
Last night, that was brilliant.
as an example of their players?
What was it? It was
They
a
believe
break
that
for
you
it.
need. And although they played great stuff, players looked to me like they believed that they could compete with Aberdeen. They believed that they could play it on that stage. I thought individually, every one of them win their individual battles, and that's what we're going to need against Rangers. Not just 6 or 7. It needs to be 16 players.
So
Everyone as a pitch need to have that belief that they can go and compete against these players, because they are good players, they're a good team. So if we don't hit that, then you can do the tactics you want.
What's the standard like in the B teams?
The teams are good, mate.
I watched the highlights with I think it was Celtic B team.
Really
I got myself, but I've not seen
excellent.
any in the Rangers.
They've got rotations and movements.
drilled.
But again, there's a difference. Do you think Celtic Rangers seemed a wee bit soft when you played against them? But these boys are
Physical.
units, mate. They get make
Athletes.
contact with athletes. I think guys like Gilmore being with them and Daz, obviously at Celtic, I know that Daz wouldn't allow players to just be nice football players and need that other side. So I think they've done a really good team with the B teams.
I say I've given obviously a wee there to the Rangers fans coming down. You want to give something to the Open Goal fans?
Open Goal fans coming in, he's been great all year. We really appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, brilliant. Now listen, as always, I like to buy the tickets in description.
What's the
Not below. Wanted the finger to go down again. Aye, good.
There's something a bit
in the box below. I tell you what, we've got a new fan thing happening on Tuesday at Broomhill. The young team are coming down with the drum. I've got them rehearsing.
Oh, the cat drums. I've had a few messages.
They've been rehearsing for the past 6 weeks, so the drums have been purchased.
Is it true they're using your ass as a drum?
Is my ma out?
You've insisted. It's mad, it.
Is my ma out? She'll be
Well,
down. You need to tell her.
jumper to cover it in the rain. But anyway, but no, the boys will be doing. You'll hear them on Tuesday night.
Good.
Well,
Mike's
we
been on just keep the nice going good.
You'll be tuning next Tuesday, won't you, mate?
Aye, I've been to a couple of games. How well have the fans backed you? But
Aye,
Golden
good,
Goal
mate.
fans,
What did you think?
unbelievable.
What did you think of these couple of games? I saw you at half time. What did you think? Broomhill were a better side.
The country mile.
I know,
Spoke to Si after it. No disrespect to Kevin and East Kilbride. The only team I seen any sort of identity was
Yep.
Broomhill.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Only total identity on it.
Because I
Clear
obviously said in the
understanding.
podcast that I thought we were the better team, stuck out, and a few comments coming back on that saying that what game we at, and I'm thinking, if you're watching football, that was pretty evident. East Kilbride had a couple of moments in the game that the keepers made a couple of good saves, but over the piece of 90 minutes, and I think that's the difference with like this league. The top teams, it's the fine margins. Like 1-1, you don't concede that goal or you nick a goal, that's an extra couple of points. Same away to Sparta, score that penalty, 4 points. You add 4 points to your tally, you're 46 points. It's a lot closer. Whereas it just shows you at the top end of that table, the nitty gritty part of the season. It's
But that's what I like about him, and that's why I speak to him quite a bit and ask him for a bit of advice, because when you took the Darvel job and players that you'd signed, people were probably thinking, oh, Mick will go and piss that straight away first year. But if he'd done that and played a certain way, he wouldn't have got the result he got against Aberdeen last night. So I think he came in and went, we're going to play a certain way. If we do get a couple of setbacks, as in no going up straight away, it'll benefit us.
It's hard to play that at your level. It's
it is,
so
isn't
difficult because the dynamics don't shoot the size of the playing surfaces, the playing surface we play every week. It's difficult to stick to the principles and believe them all the time. But the reality is you either believe in a philosophy or you don't. If you believe in it, you need to ingrain it in everything you do and stick by it. And that game, I listened to Kevin's interview. Kevin said they dominated the 20 minute spell in the game. I didn't see that watching the game. I thought you fully dominated the full game. The only thing I think, you didn't have a natural number 9 that night, did you?
Ryan plays up there.
But I thought you were excellent all game. Clear identity, really brave. I thought the young goalkeeper in goals
He's excellent.
was excellent with box feet.
You'll be signing him next year.
Aye, so it's a 300 quid a
To be
week.
fair, your goal was brilliant as well.
Aye, your goalkeeper's exceptional.
I've had enough of Broomhill reviews. Just for the time being now, because we've got Mick Darvel on here. Mr. Darvel. We called him, didn't we?
No?
Do you know?
Is that what you were calling last week? It was something different last week, wasn't it?
Mick Kennedy, the main man. I love this, Mick. Was your family there at the game?
Aye, family came down, aye, full family.
How
was there.
special was that, mate, after the game you see them?
Aye, unbelievable. I think like it's different for me in terms of the football career I've had. It's never been something that's like you boys have all played senior, and so obviously your family obviously came and watched you developing through. But our family wasn't like that. I played amateur all my career, so it wasn't really a big thing being a football player. So when you get to moments like that where you're on national television, it's a big deal. Then obviously they're really proud of you, and aye, they come down and backed us in the numbers.
Mate, the crowd was crazy. Was it over 4,000?
Just about 3.5. I think it was.
3.5,
Aye.
Credo. How many was at Aberdeen?
800 Aberdeen fans.
It was a talk of you having to move that game to Kilmarnock.
I think that's everybody's natural thought process.
I mean, they say, mate,
we'll
with that.
move it to Kilmarnock, and they were sort of people trying to direct us down that path. But I think we made the decision straight away that we had to try and keep it home as best we could.
When they
Talk us through, how do you keep the pitch in such good condition? You look at Celtic Park, Hampden, they're a mess. Darvel's pitch looks incredible.
I know.
We relaid it 2 years ago. A company, Allgrass, came in who actually do a lot of work on like Celtic Park and Ibrox during close season, and we relayed it, and then we pay them a fair bit of money to come and look after it all year for us, and it's in top condition. It's like proper condition.
We were in here, we usually come in about 6 in the morning to do our notes, didn't we, before any interview. And the first question that we came up with was, Mick, can you believe you actually went and won? But watching your team talk before it,
I thought the first question was how's the last 48 hours been?
that'll be the next question.
Right.
It's brilliant. Nick. Listen, you stick to that role with the. But I was going to ask you, can you believe that you won? But see, watching the way your team play, it's a stupid question. Looking at your team, they did believe they could win, couldn't they?
Aye, 100%. They'd always made, obviously, there's that euphoria of getting Aberdeen in the cup, and everybody was speaking about it. And I said, listen, we need to park it, concentrate on league duty in the cups we're in, then we'll focus on Aberdeen. But from Monday onwards, there was 100% belief that we could win the game. I'd never doubt it. I've just got a genuine belief in how we play, and obviously the group of players we've got, the type of people there. And I just knew that if we turned up and we stuck to a philosophy, because I don't think Aberdeen would. Obviously they've been watching us, but I think they're probably analysing us at our level and think they're not going to be that brave when they come and play against us. But obviously, and I thought if we'd done that and we imposed that in the game, I thought we'd have taken them by surprise, and I think that's naturally what happened.
See, I want to ask you, see, in terms of Aberdeen, did you watch them, study them, and did your game plan change in any way based on them?
I went and watched them a couple of times. I went to the Hearts game on Wednesday night, watched them against Hearts, but I didn't, from sort of, we spoke a wee bit about them on the Thursday and Saturday morning, only Saturday morning for about half an hour, but for Monday night I didn't talk about Aberdeen at all when I turned up to the ground. The one in my team talk, didn't speak about them tactically, didn't speak about the players' shape or nothing, just fully concentrating on us and what we were trying to implement and how we wanted to play, so that was our focus.
I was, to be honest, it's no disrespect, but I was surprised, and even me and my dad was shouting at the telly, see sort of later on in the game, I'm thinking, just fucking kick it away. But the composure you boys showed, did you do a lot of...
Why would you kick it away?
No,
I mean,
you're spot on, but it's just that, see, when you're that in there, because at first, I mean, everybody's group chats were going mental that night, weren't they? The whole country was up in hands, and as the game was going on, you're thinking, this can happen now, this can really happen now, and it's almost, maybe it's a Scottish mentality, but I see me and my dad.
It is a Scottish mentality, mate, 100%.
And it's maybe, as the game's going on, you're maybe piling bodies forward, you're feeling that pressure's coming, your first thing is fucking get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what was so good about the boys, well, they didn't do that. They played through
They probably like, you think of some of the players that he has, a lot of these players have played league football, like at some point in their stages in their career, so they've been in at good clubs because of their ability. So the old saying is, if you've got the ball, well, the other team can't do anything. So the importance is just to trust your belief in, like, as good as Aberdeen are, or haven't been recently.
But
they've got good players. So what my take on it is that I always go back to Broomhill versus Alloa. Alloa's in League One, and Broomhill that night probably could have won the game, right? So I look at the difference in players and quality, and I thought they were kind of evenly matched. I look at Darvel's squad and players, and I think, if you were to chuck them into League One, they would hold their own, no bother. So then you put it up to that context, because of the quality of players they have. For League One to the Premier League, it's then not a big gulf. It's just because of where Darvel are and because of the circumstances around, well, boys want to play part-time and it suits them no being full-time and whatever it is, or maybe there's more finances down there or whatever. They're there for whatever reasons they are, but it doesn't distract away from the fact that they're good players. So keeping the ball, dictating it, moving it, that's bread and butter to these guys.
But he signed players to keep the ball, so why would you kick the ball?
So why would you kick it?
And that's what we made the decision. I've not built that group of players to go and be back to front and be direct. It was to dominate the ball. And I said that to the coaching staff, listen, we need to stick to philosophy, we need to be brave, we need to make sure it's the same shape we play every week, same principles, because if we divert away from that, the reality is as well, we don't have enough time to work the players to implement that. We don't have enough wheels in the day to then put a new system in place, a new style in place. That's embedded in there a period of time. So we just thought, listen, let's just stick to it, be brave, trust the players. And the reality is they executed it perfectly.
Was it a hard team to pick, Aberdeen game? The starting 11?
It was, because if you look at our bench, you look at the experience on our bench, there's a lot of experience on our bench, a lot of boys who played at that level as well. But if you look through the group who started, boy Chris McGowan, Kilwinning, we signed, our goalkeeper came with me for amateur, Big Allen, played at that level of his career, Craig Truesdale, we signed for Rob Roy. So there's players in there who've played at our level, but if you look at our bench, there's probably more experienced players who've played at the top end the country in terms of football.
Was that goal like Colville with you? Colville?
Aye, he was-
no way.
Aye, honestly.
He played, was Colville Park manager, Peterhead got
He wasn't even used Murtons that day, no.
I'm not going to mention the score, but even we couldn't have, like, Mick was an amateur manager at the time, and they came up to Peterhead, mate, and every time the goalie got it, played it.
Where did you get that sort of style for?
Just when I played amateur football, we got the ball down and we played football, and it's just been bedded in me, and it's just something I've stuck to, and I would never navigate away from it, irrespective of who we're playing, what environment, and you need to totally believe in it. And I remember that day, we started well for, 20 minutes or something, it was not an each we knocked the ball about, then things went a bit pear-shaped after that.
But no, I couldn't believe it, because I didn't know Mick at that time. And I think I spoke after it, I went, that's fucking brilliant how you, although the scoreline was bad, but I went, that's fucking brilliant how you was playing.
So see that during the game, Mick, was there any point you're like, please, stop trying to play? No, at all.
No, there was times where I was a wee bit. I actually said to Big Cam Eady, who I thought was outstanding the other night, I actually said to him at half time, listen, that you need to trust yourself more and believe in yourself more. There was a few times we walked out to him and maybe looked up, didn't see the picture early enough, and he just clipped into a channel, which was a very good ball, but we gave away possession. But I just said to him, listen, see if you make a mistake and it gets recycled and it's turned air, just look at me and I'll take responsibility for it. It's no your issue, it's my issue. But I watched the game back last night for the first time, and I'm sure the boys will be looking forward to this on Thursday, and I start busting their balls about certain elements of playing that. There's elements in the game where we could have been a bit better.
You want to watch it back with them and
we'll talk about it on Thursday night, because I still think there's elements in the game where we could have controlled it a wee bit better. There's times we could have played a wee bit and been a wee bit braver, but it's easy sometimes standing outside the parks. Obviously at some point the occasion takes there, and at some point you just feel as if you need to do the safe thing. But
what I liked as well, because we just spoke about it with the B teams as well, because sometimes you do get teams that play like that, didn't have the other side, but I thought you were fucking so aggressive and in
see the centre half,
never got a second on the ball.
It's when Aberdeen got it, how your shape stayed really compact.
Couldn't play through you.
Aye, there was like a few times they get down the wing, they got some balls in the box and stuff, but your defenders are there looking, when they keep them made a save, your defender's the first guy to react to clear it. That's so important, that thing, when you're 1-0 up, when you're not holding on, because are you holding on? It's obviously natural that Aberdeen's going to be the dominant force when you're 1-0 up because they're chasing the game, but to keep that composure, like you say, it wasn't hoofed up the park, it was passed out to the full-back into the midfield, taking a couple of touches, and it was really impressive. And like I said in the podcast on Monday, I didn't, after watching Aberdeen last week against Hearts, a surprise wouldn't been a surprise, because I thought Aberdeen were poor.
Do you know though, Kev, on that, in Aberdeen I haven't been in a great form, but they took Rangers to extra time in a week before they played us. So it's not like, and they get a red card in extra time.
Yeah.
So it's not like...
See the Hearts game, I was talking to Andy about it last night, the Hearts game was never a 5-0 game in Molten years. No. First half, I couldn't believe Aberdeen were 4-0 down. They were actually, the game was probably pretty even, to be fair. They really good transition a few times and got into good areas and maybe just weren't clinical enough, but the game was pretty even. But just every time Hearts went forward, Aberdeen looked a bit vulnerable at the back.
It looked like for me in that game that, like you say, that first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit sloppy and it was a bit all over the place, but the teams looked even, and then Hearts got a throw in, just chucked it into the box and they got a goal, and Aberdeen's like, what's happened there? And that just kind of sucker punched them, and that felt like the other night when Darvel's got a bit of luck with the deflection off the boy and into the net. Aberdeen's then looking around thinking, oh shit, and there's nobody really grabbed the team by
I couldn't believe the difference Johnny Hayes made just through having sheer enthusiasm.
See, when I seen the team line, to be fair, and I seen Johnny wasn't playing and Shirley wasn't playing, I was pretty happy. I thought, because they're proper boys who played in this country, understand it week in, week out. I was happy when that experience was taken out the team, and I looked at it and I thought, listen, I think that gives I know it's a very strong Aberdeen team, but it was when they two were out the team, because I was surprised at that. I knew when Johnny came on he would make a bit of a difference, and obviously don't know, Shinny wasn't injured because he'd done a lot of runs after the game, so I take it he was maybe just resting for the Hibs game at the weekend. But
be honest, you shitting yourself in that wee period when they were putting quite a few balls across the box. Are we quite chill?
No, I was actually alright. I kept saying to this coaching staff, listen, you need to get a message on, you need to get a message when we put the subs on, you need to put a message on the balls, you need to keep the ball, just be braver, just keep it and try and play the game out in possession, because the reality is at some point legs start to get tired, last 5 minutes, you know, it's like your mind gets tired as well. Somebody switches off and you're no focused and maybe don't understand the shape and defensively, but it's important to try and keep the ball. And listen, I thought the boys were fantastic, yeah.
Mick, your team talk went viral. It was absolutely brilliant, Si, wasn't it?
I really enjoyed it.
Do you like your team talks as well?
I like your team talk. I think it can make a big difference. I really do. Boys like at our level who have maybe been working all day, maybe in a switched on.
Aye.
I think if you can give them a couple of words that, right, okay, it's time to work, then I think it makes a massive difference. I thought yours was really good.
Sorry, Si, when did you realise you were Was that just before you got into the dressing room? Or was
No,
that planned?
it's planned. It's got to be.
So a lot of people have asked me about that. Like, now so that's the way I speak. That's your team talks on a Saturday in general, right? There's female of the values of the club, which I think I spoke about was like trust, belief, respect, all the things. They're all built around about that. A lot of them sometimes are. I try and relate it to like personal life for people, so it's relatable. Listen, some of them fucking going out. Sometimes you see them looking about, think, where the fuck's he gone with this today? Do you know what I mean? Some of them are a bit
hard up there,
but it's I try and make it relatable, but I build it in my head during the week. I remember when I first started doing this, I tried to write it down and read it back. So I'm going to tell you something about myself, a bit personal, I don't need to know this, but I'm dyslexic, all right? There's not many people know that about me. And so I struggled. I remember trying to do it and read it back in my mind. My mind just doesn't process information like that. So I struggled. So I try and have some key points in my head. So I think about certain things. So I think about belief, and I need to say something about belief, I need to say something about togetherness. Then the reality is, when I'm up there, I just wing it. Off the cuff. Apart from the bit about obviously 40 million minutes and...
Did you agree to let the cameras in, or did they just come to you before and say, can we come in?
So some of the BBC came to me and said, listen, we've been told your team talks are quite inspiring, would you mind if we came in and listened to it? We've asked a few times and people have said no, and I said, he's a more than welcome to come in and listen if you want.
Did you never swear at them that?
Aye, of course I did, mate.
That's hard.
It's hard, mate.
Do you see that what you said, Kev, about the League 2, League 1, all the way up? Do you think there is a big difference?
I think this weekend showed that there isn't.
No, there isn't. We've said it for a long time. I think even last year we said about the likes of Cove being in Championship, Queen's Park being in the Championship. If one of them teams could invest a wee bit of money and put a decent run together, they would get promoted to the Premiership. And now we're sitting looking at Queen's Park, top of the Championship. And what's all that down to? That's just maybe a wee bit extra investment. Whether it be in the background with the kids, or whether it be the first team or the training ground or whatever it may be. They're now in a position, they're looking to be in the top league, and it's great for Scottish football, I think. But what's no great for Scottish football is teams like Darvel, teams like possibly Brecon, who went out the league in the East. Is that right? The East, in the East?
The Highlands.
And then there's teams in the East. There's a lot of teams in those lower leagues that are more than capable of competing at League 2, League 1, Championship.
Well, look at Pollock when they played Annan. I thought Pollock were by far the better team against Annan.
And they're not getting an opportunity because the pyramid system only allows, it's as if it allows one up, one down, but it's no fair.
Well, look at Trinent as well. They came up this year. Look, they're up the top.
That's
Even look at, go higher in that. Best player in the Championship last year. McKenna, was it Berwick 2 years ago?
Yep.
So these guys are more than capable of playing higher. So just about getting that belief, like he said before the game, having that belief.
What do you think Scottish football needs to do? Do they need to sit around a table and figure it out a bit better?
I think the problem is, Kev, all the leagues have got their own governance structure and their own, so they basically decide their own fate in theory. Yeah. There's no I know SFA, their overarching body, but they don't really have control over leagues in terms of how they administer relegation and promotion. So at every level you get leagues looking after their own self-interest, and until somebody comes in, and maybe somebody independent comes in and says, listen, everybody needs to buy into this review, then the reality is there is change coming. I believe there's a League 3 coming. Don't know if it will come this summer. I think it's going to come next summer. It looks like SPL 3 is going to come. That's the plan, looks like. So there is a bit of change coming, but again, that'll probably be no disrespect, but probably structured around maybe the SPL clubs or the SPFL clubs, because they need some kind of security blanket to a degree.
I heard on TV, I think it was it Faddy or the commentator said when Mick Kennedy first went into Darvel, he gave himself 5 years to get in the leagues. Are you on track where you want to be? Because it looks like you're going to win it this year.
Aye, when I first went in, we were in the juniors with my first year in the Championship. It wasn't until we got, I think it was during that year the West of Scotland was sort of created, then the sort of plan changed, because at that point it was just to be the best team in junior football, which is above the likes of Auchinleck and Pollock, which are giants at the level. So there was a 3-year plan to do that. First win the Championship, get into the Premier League, be steady for a season, and then try and win it. But the reality is, won the Championship, then won the Premier League. But when the West structure changed and there was an opportunity promoted, then we said, listen, we need to try and get to League 1. That was aspiration within 5 years. Listen, Trinent last year was a bit of a hard one to take, to be fair. We were excellent all season, but I think you need to look at the context. We played 19 games in 6 weeks.
That's right.
We were dead in our feet. We ended up, and listen, Trinent were a very good side. Really, I know Callum, who's a gaffer at point as well, is a great guy as well. He's no longer there, but he's a good friend and all, and they deserved on the day. But we were dead in our feet that day. I think we had 4 or 5 boys out who would have played gone. I remember the week building up to Ian McShane, who's obviously a massive part. It was like, Gaffer, I can't actually physically run. I mean, I've nothing in my legs at that point. So we struggled on the day, but that was a massive upset. But listen, there was something built in that 5 year where if we don't get progress through quick enough, then we just need to restabilise and go again. It just so happened that's the year it's happened, but it looks like things are on progress.
You're starting to make the teams in League Two think a wee bit more about their future, because before they couldn't get relegated, and now because that's there, teams like Albion Rovers, even my own hometown Stranraer, they're starting to have to think about, instead of just season to season, 2-3 years beyond, because some of these teams might come down and just disappear into obscurity. Whereas the likes of Darvel, I would even go as far as to say some of the teams in our league, like you've got Broomhill, you've got Trinent, East Kilbride, probably the uni team now, Stirling Uni, Civil Strollers, they're probably thinking, why can we not go up here? And like, do they need to put in a place where it's like 3 up, 3 down, or 2 up, 2? I think it needs to be more. It feels like it's a big hurdle to get into when it doesn't need to be.
I think the problem with League Two clubs is, like, you would find before the pyramid system actually kicked in, that the team who finished bottom are probably doing there nearly every year.
Yep.
You know you're safe, you know you've got guaranteed prize money. Well, actually drives you to improve.
Wow.
And I think that's what the pyramid system does, and that can only benefit the football in this country. Of course it can. Well, you look at what you've done beginning to Broomhill. Look at that bit of creativity, forward thinking, gauging the fan base, all the things. All of a sudden you've got a fan base there night, the club's now moving forward, it's progressive. With a bit of foresight, a bit of ambition. The problem is,
see other teams in the league thinking, okay,
we need this, and that's what you need.
So brilliant, isn't it? That was great.
So
can the believe Spartans?
That's
brilliant to hear.
Spoke to Dougie, I really like Dougie. Spoke to him for 25 minutes after the game. Couldn't believe the setup.
Frightening,
It's brilliant,
absolutely.
But you always said to me, you should never take someone unless it's really well run above you, and you've got that with the boy John, don't you?
Aye, I think that's like it's different for me, I suppose, because I've again not been in that sort of professional game all my life. I've never had that real desire to progress all the time as an individual, just because I do football because I love it and I enjoy it. So I would never leave where I'm all just now to progress into something unless I knew I could be successful. You could put the right infrastructure in place and you could run the club the way it needs to be run on the football pitch. You need control to do that, but you need people to believe in it. Do you know what I mean? Because you know it's like, listen, I have spoke to a couple of clubs in League Two over the last sort of few months when opportunities have arisen, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. But you need people to believe in that, because you imagine a relegation battle and I've got the goalkeeper playing in the 6-yard box. You know what I mean?
Give you a bit of a taste you want merit though. That night for Aberdeen, does that know? I want merit that now.
I think everybody does. It's like, what an occasion to be part of the fans in the ground, that achievement, of course you do. I think, but as well you need to do that with the group you've got just now. An opportunity comes and you think that's an opportunity worth exploring, but it needs to be the right opportunity.
There'll be team sniffing, I'll tell you that, isn't there? There'll be team sniffing, alright.
What players did you like on the night?
Kirky, I played with Kirky at Clyde. Also the eye for goal. He's excellent. Scott Ferguson, I played with at Clyde. He came on. Andy Stirling. Is that his right first name? Played with him, I did. He's excellent. But I actually couldn't believe the bench, even the boy Moore, because these boys have all played higher in leagues. He was brilliant.
He's a great lad.
They're no starting. That just shows you how good the quality of your team. See when the final whistle goes, is that one of the best moments you've ever had in football?
Probably, aye, up there definitely, aye.
The scenes were unbelievable, mate.
Aye, the scenes were frightening, aye, it was unbelievable.
And then see, later on, I know you spoke about it a wee bit, but what was the celebrations like late into theirs, or was it?
It wasn't that, the change room was alright, the boys were well into Wonderbar, to be fair, Chris looked after.
The boys went in, he went in.
I know, but the problem is, all the boys had their fucking tracksuits on, I looked like a fucking school teacher, do you know what I mean? So, or a bouncer, I was dressed in black, I was at security, it looks as if I was looking after them, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I thought, listen, I'm only half of it, I'm getting to fucking left him up to it, I don't end up in casinos and all that sort of stuff.
Did you say to them, listen boys, you've got training on Thursday, make sure you're in at a reasonable time?
No, because usually I'm at party meal, to be fair, so I just...
Every time you see the Darvel boys,
aye, so no, I just left them to it, so...
Do you know what he does? What we secret about him every day? Eats in Koya's every day. Chicken, rice and broccoli.
Every single day.
Every single day.
Every day, aye. I'm a bit of a health freak, I look after myself.
We should start going with him. Shouldn't we?
I've been a couple of times, you want to come?
Have you been, aye? Get that one quite in, yeah?
Do you join in too?
Sometimes I join in, now and again.
Any good?
It's 42 minutes, it's a bit of a struggle. Sometimes you know in your head you still think you've got it, do you know what I mean? But it's hard at times, the standard's exceptional.
We're talking about a 42-year-old.
Oh my God.
We witnessed a 41-year-old get absolutely bullied off a 19-year-old kid last night.
And he's
Dale, did he?
Dale goes to this Barry P.
Aye, so he does, I know Barry, aye.
And the Rhino beat Kyle Semple 19 twice in the 5-a-sides, fucking it Dale on his
He rided him twice to the ground, right? But I woke up this morning, right? You'll not believe this. I woke up this morning and Dale said he's put a video up on Instagram. He's in the gym already with Peacock.
Building up.
Must be building up. Now, Mick, listen, Falkirk the next round. Do you fancy your chances, mate?
That'll be a great football game, by the way, because I like how Mick played, and John McGlynn's another one in Scottish football that I really like. I've started getting to watch him a couple of times.
But it's changed
That'll
now.
be a proper football game, mate.
But the mentality's changed a wee bit.
Zero shots on, they should just play possession, mate.
Whoever gets the most
Get the
passes.
goals.
But mate, it has kind of changed now because obviously nobody expected you to beat Aberdeen. But now I'm hearing a lot of people saying they'll take care of Falkirk now because they beat Aberdeen.
I think it'll be a harder game than Aberdeen.
Right.
I honestly do. Just because the expectations grown. I think a better probably balance for us is maybe how we played against Montrose in the previous round, I suppose.
Result as well.
Which is an unbelievable result as well. We were outstanding on that day as well. So I think it'll be a real difficult challenge. But again, expectations now grown. Probably everybody getting into the ground the other night. Everybody was wanting to say one. You can't say everybody expected to say one. I don't think there's an expectancy. You know what I mean? Obviously that grew as the game developed, but the difference now is when I'm sure the ground will be sold out against Falkirk, there'll be an expectancy with people coming out of the ground that expect us to win. So
Has anybody sent you their bet slips of winning against Aberdeen? Seriously, like on.
there's been a few quid of one.
I'm sure I've seen somebody win $5,000. Is that right?
No way.
Aye,
$5,000.
I know a few boys.
What's the hopes of the Scottish Cup run? The hopes, obviously, as a small club, is to get a big draw. You had your big draw. Now you've got an opportunity to, I would like to think, give Falkirk a run for the money. So what's the aspirations after that? If you can take care of Falkirk, is it a Celtic or Rangers? Or is it, what's the thing? What's the chairman? The chairman's obviously a different kettle of fish because he's obviously running it as a business. What's he thinking?
Aye, he'll be
Just a step at a time.
He was in the
You
Pie
can't
World
go too
Championship
far.
the other day.
Aye.
Yesterday.
He won it.
He was in the side oven.
That's the reason I signed with Kilmarnock. The pies.
When he was at the World Championship pies
Aye,
yesterday.
he's already won it. He's been the World Pie Champion a few years.
Did he win it yesterday?
I don't know. I know he was at it. He was definitely at it.
He was after the Sky Sports News and the wee boy, was it Luke Shanley? He was in, he kept trying to crack jokes about the prize.
6'3" I had, but the wee boy like Chandler had.
6'3". He was there, so the boy was there, but it was brilliant to see. So, I mean, even, I sorry to go back to it, but even in interviews after the game, Kirk not saying they had to go to work. It's an unbelievable sign. I just can't stop thinking about it.
Would
mate.
there ever be a time that Darvel would think about going full time? I know he's ambitious. Is that something that could be possible?
Listen, I think it's hard. You look at, no disrespect to maybe boys, teams like Falkirk and that, and then the low leagues trying to be full time. It's difficult because there's not enough money in the game to, and they boys will not be paying for a great deal of money full time at that level, unfortunately. And I think it's a real challenge. I don't think for us as a club it's that you could ever.
What's your usual attendance, Mick, weekly?
Probably we're up to about 300 odds, which isn't bad. I think when I first went it was about 30. But we need to try and grow that. Do you know what I mean? It needs to. We've got an advantage. We're a very small town, so it's easy to engage with people. But you need to bring. Listen, fans come through success, or believe in success, or dream in success. So nights like that night can only help. Obviously, make that engagement and obviously that sort of buy-in a bit easier. So that's what I hope for. But we need to try and grow the fan base as much as we possibly can.
And as well, you think now as well. You built a great squad there, but looking at that performance the other night, there could be a lot of teams now looking at your boys.
And that's what I says to him, but why would they want to leave? Why would you want to leave? Because he's obviously brought them in to fit a certain style. Why would you go and play for a League One club that maybe does bang the ball at the pitch for what, an extra 50, 100 quid a week? Is that what football is? I would much rather go play in a team that want to pass the ball, that want to play to my strengths, that are ambitious, that want to get there. So it might take you maybe 3 years, but once you do get in that league, it'll suit you better to go and stand out at that level again. You could go up to League One and play for a team that doesn't suit your strengths, and before you know it, you're back where you
It would be a totally like random circumstance, as in like say somebody lives in Falkirk and he's travelling through to Darvel to train or whatever it may be, and you might think, oh, the Falkirk's offered me a role, they play similar to Darvel, so I'm going to go there. You would say, right, fair enough, that's understandable. But if you, like you said, you're moving for 50 quid or whatever. What's the actual point?
I know, listen, if any of the boys got an opportunity, it was an opportunity from then, I'd wish them all the best, but I think...
He'll take Truesdale on.
Where was he before Bob Lloyd?
That's alright. If that's your attitude, mate, we'll take Truesdale, alright?
he was still in Albion and Airdrie as a young boy.
He was outstanding.
What a gifted football player he is. He's on the half turn, he's exceptional.
Brilliant.
Somebody said
You said he's a full-back, don't you?
Right wing back, full-back, he's a bit, what a talent he is, honestly. He's such a gifted football player. He's great.
I've always liked Big Cam. I had Cam at Peterhead.
I got Cam because of him. It was he recommended me to take him.
He's improved obviously at Darvel. I was delighted when he's a great boy as well.
An absolute
lovely
warrior.
Boy. So I was delighted.
And to be fair,
Meggett's good as well, mate.
Cam's had a couple of opportunities to go. To be fair. And the stayed.
I asked you about him in the summer. Keep him calm,
I wouldn't. He's somebody like one of the players where you look at the next few years in terms of what lies in front of you. He's got a responsibility to help lead it ways. He's somebody you wouldn't want to lose. But he's a. But in terms of losing the players, I think the way I look at it is that we've got a really good environment at Darvel. Not just in terms of the philosophy we play, but actually how tight a group they are and stuff like that. And you know, listen, the league's better than me. There's so many boys in the leagues who are playing for teams who are not happy with the environment, that they're not happy playing for the manager. But the reality is it's a career, you need the money on the side to survive and stuff like that. And I look at what we've got there, the boys are well paid, well looked after, and you think, why would you take the risk to go somewhere? And because listen, it's a hard level, that level as well. It's not an easy level to play week in, week out. Probably players' actual sort of how they're looked after as people and stuff like that. It's probably not a lot of consideration in it. It's a bit ruthless. Whereas us, at least, you're in a good, safe environment.
So when you sign players, Mick, do you look for that, the personality as well?
It's the biggest thing, mate.
Do you, mate?
Absolute biggest thing. I wouldn't let MD in your changing room who wasn't a good person with a good heart, mate. I just wouldn't let them in because my main responsibility, honestly, and I say this all the time to the players, out with being a football manager and thinking about philosophy when I get to football, my most important responsibility is make sure you've got a group of people who look out for one another. I say it every year. The first team taught us, I've done the most important part of my job this year. I felt the changing room with good guys with good hearts, they know they look after each other.
Have you ever had any experiences with sort of bad eggs in the dressing room that you've had to get out?
No, we've been pretty fortunate because listen, the sort of values and principles are laid right at the outset. When I meet people and ask them to come and say, listen, when you buy into this, you need to understand it's not about you need to believe in other people, you need to understand that I always say to them, and I say about myself, like I say to the players all the time, I'm the least important person in here. And you need to think like that. If you realise you're the least important person, then your responsibility is to look after everybody else. When you need people to look after you, you have 22 people, 30 people at your back, but if you're selfish, and you don't think like that. See, when you need people at football, you're on your own.
See, on that, I know you're close with the boys in terms of going out and stuff like that, and in terms of friendships. But see, day training, do you go in the dressing room before it, or do you leave that to guys like Meggett and McShane?
There's a bit of balance in that. They try and give them a bit of responsibility, help lead the club as well. And everybody's got that responsibility, but there's obviously in every changing room there's boys who actually take the lead, but no in terms of, we don't actually have many. I was speaking about this to somebody yesterday. We don't have, like, I've been in changing rooms where I've had absolute warriors who are really vocal, but there's no many of them in the group, to be fair, but they're just good guys and they lead way, conduct themselves well. Like Ian McShane's, the level he's played at, just so humble, but so professional, such a good guy. And he leads in his own sort of wee special way, and it helps because I know sometimes maybe you're not playing or things are not going your way, or just having one of the days at training and stuff like that. You never hear him moan about it, and I know boys look at him and go like that. Look at level he's played at.
Moaning, how can I moan?
He doesn't moan the talent he's got. How the fuck can I moan? Yeah. You know what I mean? And sometimes people lead in ways they don't even realise they're leading, and I think we've got a few boys like that.
Have you got the hairdryer treatment in you?
I definitely. Fuck aye.
I think everybody's got a touch. You were talking about this Saturday with Martindale, done it. Every manager's got that, and I think you need that, don't you?
You need to. It's about moments, where when it happens, the players know, right, fuck, be serious about we've not been good enough. Do you know what I mean? I think it was a thing that every time listen, you need to manage, you need to gauge the room and say, like, going at half time, you're not happy. How do I fix this? Is it about leadership skills in terms of motivating people? Is it putting an arm on somebody, or is it just going in and I'm just losing the plot here? But I have. Have
you ever done one like went mental and went fuck after it, took that too far?
No, I don't think so. Because I think to be fair, I think if you've got a good honest group and they understand why you're doing it as well, I don't think, like, you know what I mean? And obviously as well, because I've got a good relationship with players. There's people you're in, you go like that, maybe in a Monday night training, speak to maybe a couple of senior players and go, would you think Saturday, was that the right thing to do? And no, Gaffer, 100%, aye, but I've lost the plot. I remember I kicked a fucking there's buckets in the changing room. Now you put all the kit in at half time and whatever, and I think Megget was looking at the grum and I was in a fucking void, man. But he shit himself, flew right there, see that? You know what I mean? But there's times where I've lost the plot.
Has ever had a wee bite back at you?
Nah, never.
Fair.
I need to say as well, because talking about Aberdeen, I thought Jim Goodwin's after-match interview was excellent.
Aye,
Full credit to you.
He was very.
See how bad they were.
Spoke to him after the game and he was very, very respectful. To be fair, I thought that was honestly, it was very honest as well. And
Must be so hard for him as well.
such a difficult moment, mate. Aye, listen, it's so difficult when you're in a job that size. I think why the pressure at that level, not even in terms of just losing your job, I think one of the issues in this country is when you're at the top end of the game, like, see when things don't go well, there's not enough structure underneath to flaunt another good job. He's done a remarkable job at St Mirren. You go to Aberdeen, you wouldn't knock that job back.
No.
But if things don't work out, where do you go for there? There's no many. Look at Ross, Jack Ross.
Yeah.
Unbelievable manager. I thought he'd done a good job at Hibs. Would have done well. Goes to Dundee and the guys at the game. And an exceptional coach, exceptional manager. Can't get back in.
It's mad. You seen that with Aberdeen when Darvel went up, and you just felt like it was panic.
Aye.
And the players early on, you just sensed it, didn't you? You just sensed it.
It's the same as
I still believe like Aberdeen going forward will be fine because they've got good players and they will be all right. It's just at this minute in time they're going through a lull that's.
How are they getting the ball to the? I couldn't tell you how they were trying to get the ball to the forward players.
No,
it was very one time skills would kick, put it in mine. The next time you'd maybe play shot. There wasn't really much an identity for me when I looked at them. We trained 2 nights a week, and there was a clear instruction of what they were trying to do.
I thought that with the Aberdeen and Hearts game that the forwards would go and chase the Hearts defence, and the 3 boys at the back of the Hearts would just pop the ball in them. And then the defence
you could hear press,
but the defence was sitting that far back. You're thinking, how can you ask your forwards to press if you're sitting away back here?
Well, that's what I thought against Darvel. I thought the front players were pressing really high and the defenders were taking
that's exactly what I thought against Hearts. And I thought, are they sitting deep because they're worried of Ginnelli's pace in behind, which then allowed Shankland to come and sit in the hole. And when he then started getting on the ball, and then even you would have seen the I think it was the second goal with Hearts, it was just a big long diagonal. Because then they decided to push up.
Yeah.
And they pushed up 10 yards, but what it ended up leaving was gaps in behind. And Hearts just went bang, and you're like, it's as if they're trying to do one thing and try to do a different thing, but nobody really knows what
even when
they're doing.
On the like you said, there was times that they did get up to halfway, but Joe Lewis was standing on his goal line. But you're thinking, if your defender's in, you should be up to 18 yards.
Surely that's like identifiable as an analyst, but look at viewed analysis of the game, you look at that and thinking, right, you need to come up here. We need to all go as a unit. It's easily fixed. So, but why is it not being fixed, or why is it?
When you say it's easily fixed, aren't you be surprised?
Well, not easily fixed. What I'm saying is to relay the information to try and make it be fixed. Are the players not buying into what he's trying to tell them?
You're not privy to that, didn't you? You didn't know what goes on day to day.
I wouldn't like to think that, but there must be a reason.
I didn't mind that at all. Mate, what did you say?
Sorry. Like that for us?
No, I'm struggling a lot about he's fucking scattered. Mate, what about at half time? What did you say to the boys?
Obviously, when I'd said about 90 minutes in your lifetime and relatable, obviously like 40 million minutes at an average male and stuff like that, I just said to them, listen, that 90 minutes is now 45 minutes. You've done 45 minutes of what I asked you to give. You just need to give the same. I said, but the next 45 minutes will be a different 45 minutes we went through, because I knew at some point, at our level, even though I thought Aberdeen did quite a bit of the ball in the game, didn't hurt us, but we probably done a lot more running out of possession than what we probably do week in, week out, because we retain a lot of possession at the level. So I knew at some point fitness would come into it, and I said, listen, when we get to the moments, we just need to rely on our togetherness. You get compact and you just fight for one another and believe.
When did you decide, because it was 5 subs you made? But when did you decide, like, I think, what was your first sub, 60 minutes?
60 minutes, aye. But we see,
because you're winning, was there ever a temptation to just keep it as it was, or did you know that the boys had run out of steam?
No, I think there was people around about me maybe thought the best thing to do was maybe just put on maybe like Jordan Allen, who's a bit more defensive, but I was like, listen, fuck that, man, we put on attacking players. I thought Stallone, because I thought wide man, more legs, can carry the ball, every sub we made was just about trying to stick to our beliefs and principles. Easy thing would have been, or easier thing to do would have been, listen, let's put on more defensive minded players, drop into a back 5 and see it the last 10 minutes, but I was hopeful that we could try and see it with the ball, but it was just about having that belief now. And listen, again, it's all on me standing there in the changing room trying to motivate and saying I 100% believe in this and you need to believe in it. I've no doubt there've been players in the changing room thinking to themselves as well, we're not going to. I believe we can do it, but I don't really believe. I think you get to half time, you go like, fuck, by the way, we can do this. We can do this. All of a sudden, that belief comes for what you've done in that first 45 minutes.
Yeah. But did you only have? Sorry to go back there. Did you only have 2 sessions leading up to Aberdeen?
It's a fucking disaster the week because the weather was horrendous. So on the Tuesday night, we trained for 30 minutes at DL.
Because obviously, I don't want boys getting
the part was solid. We couldn't get on it. We had to come off. Then on the Thursday night, I think we trained for an hour. We didn't on the Tuesday, Thursday. We did not do one bit of shape. We couldn't do anything.
That's incredible.
So it wasn't until we got on Saturday morning. Then we done a wee bit of work, but it was more about. It was about building for by kicks and stuff like that.
So you've done a bit of work on that?
Aye, but no, none of the what we done on Saturday wasn't about containing Aberdeen or anything like that. It was just about, listen, by kicks, rotation, how to get out at centre of the park, rotation, the shape and that. It was just reaffirming things like that. We didn't do anything on.
That's crazy.
Now, defensively, listen, when the ball breaks down, I didn't speak about that at any point.
But see, again, we're talking about Tuesday on that, brilliant, but the spine of the team, you've got Meggett, McShane.
You love them,
they will naturally organise people on the pitch.
You can hear it standing to the side, mate. You know yourself, it's hard to manage the team for the side of the pitch. It's so difficult, so you need people to take a responsibility. But you could hear, I watched the game back last night, you can hear like Meggett, because he believes as me, get the game squeezed up, get high. You can hear him and Maka shuffling people about. And listen, you need players to manage the game when they're on the pitch, and to a man, the boys done that. And then in the moments when the boys were tired, they just got compact, and you could see that togetherness. They just fought for one another. And listen, at that point, shaping that goes out the window. It just becomes about fucking real desire.
Yep.
I thought Meggett was excellent.
You start greeting, couldn't you, no?
Incredible, mate.
It's amazing, mate. Did you start as a junior player?
No, I played amateur all my life.
Did you?
Sweeper.
Oh, yes. Mate, who played with a fucking sweeper at amateur?
Well, that tells you how fucking old I am. Sweeper. But back then, so it was a back four, it was a proper sweeper.
John Clark, man.
I didn't pick it.
He's the last sweeper that existed.
I didn't pick MD up. So three defenders stuck them narrow, and then I got on the ball and stepped in and played in the middle of the pitch. That's what I played.
What teams did you play?
Drumchapel United.
Did you, mate?
Who
beat
Did you beat him again?
No, they beat 2-1.
Oh, yeah,
They scored first. They went 1-up.
It was 2-0, remember?
Played with them for 5 years. They were at that point the top team in the country, and I left them and went to Coval Park, who again ended up the top team and ended up managing. Then I captained Scotland Amateurs for about 5 years or something like that.
No, and how did you? Sorry,
No, you go.
When did you first think about management? When you were coming towards the end of your career?
I've asked it myself.
No, I'm a bit like probably yourself. You're one of the, but you take a bit of responsibility in the team when you're playing and stuff like that. And I was just a sort of natural leader. So I got to about 32, 33, I had osteitis pubis, and I was either got an operation and try and get another couple of years out. And I just went on the coaching staff. And for then, the gaffer at the time, Jerry, who's still with me now, he's my kit man at Coval. He said, "Listen, I'm going to chuck it at the Christmas time," and I took care. Then I was there for 4 years. We won 4 leagues, 3 Scottish Cups and that, and it was pretty successful.
And he's got successful businesses as well, but Black Rooster, who was their first sponsor?
Aye, back in the day.
Do you know that?
Had a wee Black Rooster Saturday night.
Still never
fucking arses
got
on
a female
fire.
at him, but
What, go there now? I'm starving, mate.
My sister runs a van and Duke Street, so if you're filing into her, then you'll do alright, you'll get free chicken.
I think I've got offered before.
Has she got a man?
No, mate.
Has she no?
No.
Well, got a man, aye, that.
You're
We'll
single
stay
there.
there.
Ingleton.
But what I was going to say is, if the chance did come, because obviously you're a businessman, would full-time management be your ultimate goal?
It's probably not something I've thought about, to be fair. So it's like different for me. I'm pretty fortunate where, like, for Darvel, I don't take a pay out of Darvel, and I wouldn't, no matter where I went. I don't date for that. It's a different sort of career for me. So it would take an unbelievable amount of something to convince me to go full time, I think. Do you know what I mean?
You don't get
a penny.
a penny?
No, I don't take a penny, mate. And I wouldn't anyway, no matter where I went.
Does he every Tuesday, Thursday?
Aye, well, obviously that's in value. We can't put a value on that, mate. Do you know what I mean?
So how long has John, the chairman, been with Darvel?
So I think he was there 3 years before I came or something like that. So 3 years or something.
He's obviously a big Kilmarnock fan as well, isn't he?
He's fucking nutcase, man. He's mental.
He's funny,
I'll tell you a story,
right?
He's properly nuts, like you just don't know what he's got to say. And we were beating, we scored our 5th goal at Montrose, and he's in the director's box, and with my daughter's life you hear him shouting, "You're getting sacked in the morning."
To Petrie.
The
funny thing is, Stuart Petrie's probably got the safest job in football.
Every cunt's like, man, fucking hell. I think after the game, what the fucking you doing? Because I don't know, it's that. Just come here, mate. Aye, fucking shut up.
That's amazing.
Aye.
I know another exclusive. Next door neighbour, Barry Ferguson.
That's it, mate.
I mean, Barry, aye. That's where I
He
live.
actually copied your name as well, didn't he? He's even got the
That's the
pin as
exact
well.
same, aye.
Aye, me and Barry stay next to one.
He's tight.
Actually, aye, I speak to him. He's a great guy as well. Aye, a lot of time for him. That's where I live is because of him. He let me know about the house. Aye, but aye, we're neighbours.
Did you ever share dinners and that guy next house and talk and have a laughing on it?
Share my season that, mate. Remember, there's only us two in the fucking village, you know what I mean? Make it a bit of excitement. I live in the Clyde Valley, mate, aye.
Is that not a bit of a jaunt, man?
It's actually not too bad, to be fair.
Alright.
It's not too bad.
Whose house is better?
Fergie's is a wee bit bigger.
Is it?
I've heard that's absolutely a castle, that thing, isn't it?
I've heard that. It's
Aye.
Right, what's the biggest bust-up and fight you've seen in football that you've been involved in? Maybe no you actually punching, but you've seen it yourself with your own eyes.
I don't, listen, playing in amateur early years, obviously, you can imagine there's probably been a few
What's the one that stood out though?
riots.
Hit your bones here.
It's probably just been moments. I remember, I'll know name the two players because one's one of my best mates and the other boy we ended up eventually signing. But
So it's Darren Miller and...
No, it's no Darren. and it was, a boy in the park said something to my mate, who at the time I was managing, dead personal, and I heard it myself and I turned around and went like to one of the coaches, "You're going to knock him out here. Watch this." and the big man just plays the ball down the line, he just plays the ball down the line, he just turns around. Fucking just knocked him clean out. Absolutely.
That's definitely Darren Miller.
100%.
Sparkled.
That's always your feeling in football, because when I played, you always go, shut, we'll see in the tunnel and that, you know.
See, your level, at that level, there's linesmen full of officials.
Aye.
Back in the day.
They are actually-
it's-
I've got a new best fight I've seen. Best bust up, the Rhino with Dell last night.
Aye.
That
Sick.
coat's really
Aye.
hard to
Right,
I've
watch.
never seen Dell like crumble like that, mate.
I think it's really hard to watch, mate.
The Rhino looks like he could... I wouldn't like a headbutt off him, that's
Oh,
for sure.
for Rhino's a strong boy.
No,
mate.
I can look after himself. Him the family doing a few scraps here.
Oh, you can tell with the face,
Oh, aye, they'll definitely. I'm sure Del can look after himself, no dramas.
Who's the most mentors or angriest teammate you've played with?
Big mate me D.
Right, nuts.
Absolute fucking
Is that
warrior.
the centre back?
Played centre back, centre mid, aye,
Aye.
absolute fucking warrior. I mean, pure winner. I mean, never seen anything like it in your life. Everything football, training, no matter what it was, had to be front. Just pure desire and hunger to win. Remarkable. Absolute warrior.
Who's your angriest teammate?
It's not a teammate, I would say Lennon though, but I've been involved with football.
Lennon was angry.
Lennon was a
wasn't he?
scary. I was going to ask you, that's a great, how you've made my mind think of that. Is there any of the managers sort of in higher leagues helped you?
No, particularly. No, I think probably more just people like obviously I know Fergie, spoke to Fergie a few times. That there's people who like early years when you spend a bit of time, you try and get in their head and try and get a wee bit of information out of them here and there. But I think it's important. You just have your own path in front of you, believe in it, and then at times
You listen to too much though, mate.
you can, mate. Aye, and then you need to. There's people who you like dip into, and there's other people like he inspires me. Just saying that because he's fucking sitting here. He does because. Again, he's got that absolute belief in terms of that philosophy of playing football. I tried to bring him to Darvel at one point because I remember when he got the Brimhall goal at the job and I get fucking slaughtered. And I said, he's generally one of the best coaches in Scotland at any level. And I 100% believe that. I do believe that. And I think him like himself, I think whatever he wants to aspire to be in football, and I think he's capable of doing that. I think he would be an unbelievable gaffer, I think, at any level in the country. And I think he's obviously get the ability to do that. Whether
Too much black wrist on, I know.
no, he has.
No, I would.
And I've said that time. I've said to people privately, like I couldn't speak high enough of him in terms of his ability as a coach and a person. I think he could be anything he wanted to be.
I would say to any young coach to come and watch me and him coach. Would you? Any young coach come and see us.
Have you two up last week?
I would say he hates any praise, but I would say to any young coaches, if you're doing, you're quite open with that, and you mate to get them down.
I think a lot of people message me saying about where the Broomhill train. I said the train down at Clyde in the outside pitch. Go down and watch.
I can come and watch it.
Aye,
If I was
100%.
a manager,
I've asked to come and watch yours as well.
I'd give nothing if I was a manager.
Why?
No way.
I know, but people can coach how they want to coach, but if it's not your beliefs and you didn't coach what you think the game should be played, then it's a waste of time going to watch anything and doing
I
it.
think you can really watch trainings and take
copy it.
and just copy it and think, oh, I've copied him, so we're going to be the same as them. It's how you, as a coach and a manager, relay your feelings and your desires out with the training to get the players to buy
The Saturdays are hard bit. The training, you can. I'm sure up and down the country, I've went and watched training sessions, and I've watched teams and train a certain way. It's all possession-based football, and they're saying you watch on a Saturday and you think, fucking that doesn't. Why do you train like that for? You as well just fucking do that.
I've seen, mate.
All levels in this country, you as well just fucking going back to front to training, just keep up down the park and run up and down.
That's what that kind of that Peterhead went through a phase of that of doing all this during the week and then get the Saturday and kicking the ball, and after the game you're like, let's see if we're going to do this. We'll just kick the ball. We'll just practice kicking the ball.
Surely whatever you do during the week is what you want to be doing.
Of course, I think it's back to that, and people scared of losing their jobs, aren't they? Managers. And I do get it as well to agree with players. It's the same thing I spoke about earlier. Like when you're in full-time football, I think you lose. Listen, when we were all younger, everybody played football. Your dreams were different. You dreamed about scoring the goal in the Scottish Cup final. But when you go into that system, that goes out the window. It all becomes about survival. Winning trophies is fucking irrelevant. You just want to get to the summer and know you've got another year's deal, another 2 years deal. You would have known that. That's probably been your life for a long period of time. And I think that people get caught into that. Because in this country, unfortunately, there's just not enough clubs.
It's not just this country. It's the same kind of all over England.
But see in England, Kev, but see in England, you could get sacked in England and what you're like doing and still make proper money. The problem up here,
some of the teams,
even fucking the boys who are in the boys who are playing, no disrespect to some of the boys at Livy and stuff like that, they're playing like a fucking grand a week in that. Do you know what I mean?
Work as soon as
as soon as you're playing, do you know what I mean? And that's...
I don't know naming, but I've got a pal that is the head of youth at one of the clubs in the second North Conference. I think it's like they've got the League 2 Conference and then the next one. He's on 30 grand a year as the academy director. That's you're talking like fifth from the Premier League, 5 leagues down, 30 grand a year.
I would love more money.
There are not many managers in Scottish lower leagues on 30 grand a year.
I'd love a lot more money to get put into Scottish football. I've said, I hate...
How do we get more money into Scottish football? It's an argument for another day, but it's a difficult one because we don't sell ourselves very well. There's a product here that's good enough, but we just don't. We sell ourselves short all the time.
I was going to say to you as well, because I spoke to you after a couple of defeats and thinking, how are they not playing the way I want them to play? And you said to me, it took you how long at Darvel to get them in a place that you were comfortable and happy with?
It took nearly a year, man. It's a big process to get boys.
And why is that? Just because it's something completely new for what they've been asked to do in the past?
Because again, it's that the way they've been. Because you're trying to re-educate people. Do you know what I mean? You're taking people boys in their careers at 28, 29, when about that age, and it's been ingrained in them for the last 5 or 6 years. Hit channels, squeeze the game up, fight for second balls, and the reality is, and you're also they need to believe in you, the fact that you actually believe in them, you trust them, and say, listen, I'll take responsibility. It takes time to build trust with people, but once you get their trust and they know that you want the best of them, no matter the outcome, you know that you'll take responsibility for it, then the reality is they start to believe in it, and then you start to get the best out of them. But listen, you need to be confident, you need to be in an environment where you're trusted, you know that people care about you, and once you're in that environment, then I think it's easier to go and express yourself and play with freedom. But that needs to come from the management team, it needs to come from people who are there leading the project, and if you've not got that, listen, it's just not going to happen.
I think with you, Simon, on that, like obviously you get frustrated some weeks because you think, why did they not do that, or why did they not this? I think it's you give yourself a wee bit of a disservice sometimes because you've started a new team. Mick went into Darvel, that's his new team, and he's took those years to get to that point the other night where it felt like everyone the jigsaw had finished itself. You're only like 8 months into a role. You've got the boys playing in a way that, give or take a few results, you're in the mix.
That's what I'm saying. If he ever deviated, went away for these kind of beliefs, you would never have got that performance.
No, but you still have your beliefs. No. What you've changed from your early days to now. What you've changed is that you've had to just adapt a wee bit. Sometimes when players aren't fit, you've chucked in a different formation, but still have that same ethos of how you want to play. And listen,
can I ask a question?
Yes.
What's the hardest?
Why don't you get that? Sorry, mate. Why don't you get that in Black Rooster?
I'm going to have a business meeting with him later on.
2 CEOs.
I've got you
What's
one.
this?
Wild things.
Oh, do you not know about it now?
No, I thought.
That's
You
good.
know heard about it, Mick.
Let's try it.
Guy who owns the biggest restaurant in the country doesn't know about it. That's good.
Promotional team, they'll get sacked. The marketing team will get sacked when I get him. Mick, there's a
Stop
can
giving away free cans.
He deserves one. Win it. On you go.
Give him 150
Try
for
this
that, mate.
fucking right
Give him
now.
150 for it.
I'll swap you a free Black Rooster.
Good idea.
Who does the...
Forget that, the tape.
Who does it? It's fucking a bit. I feel like you're in it.
What a sweetener.
Talk to you later.
I'll sort it for you.
For that, I can get me taste in it, get that down the throat. That'll liven you up, alright, boy.
Gear exclusive tell Darvel boys, each of the Darvel boys drank that before.
Oh, here's one. And you did actually drink it before, I believe you're spot on.
That should be your thing.
Aye.
It's like you should go.
And Here's one. I'm going to go to Atherley on Saturday and get all the Darvel boys one can each before the game. Alright?
Let's get that done. I'm fucking holding you to that, by the way.
And I'll tell you why, because they've been up there with Aberdeen, and they'll come down there.
Ah, you'll put them back up.
Even up higher than Aberdeen.
100%.
I noticed the other day when I took that can on Monday. Yawned the whole day.
What do you mean?
Right, I'm going to ask you. Honestly, I'm going to ask you two reasons. What's the hardest thing about managing, the biggest challenge you face?
The hardest thing? I don't find actually any aspect of it particularly hard, to be fair. To be honest with you, I don't really find any bit of it particularly hard. I think the most rewarding thing for me, and I think I spoke about it earlier, was getting 22 good people in a changing room who look after people at football, away from football. That's a special thing that I say to players all the time. Like, we always get caught up in life. Everybody's the same thing, these materialistic things and cars and hooses and watches and things that are not important. And when you strip it back,
Like you've got a Rolex and driving in.
Living in a big house beside Barry.
Hope the tax man isn't fucking watching this. Fuck's sake. I seen that on BBC that day. Boys like that. Somebody wrote on Twitter, look at his big fucking watch. I was like, what the fuck am I wearing a gold Rolex on BBC?
Incredible.
You've got time for it. Aye, I wouldn't fucking say that, but anyway. No, but I think that's the most rewarding thing. It's just putting good people together. I think that is honestly the most rewarding thing. That's the thing I enjoy most about being a manager, about getting people to buy into something that's probably more important and greater than actually playing football.
Do you think it's helped you as a football manager that you're a manager of businesses?
I think so, mate. Aye, I think so. I think so. I think I worked out early on in life, like how I got through life was I understood the importance of people, to be honest with you, and I knew that. I remember spoke about earlier about being dyslexic at school and stuff like that, and I knew like academically I wasn't going to be success in life through being that sort of educated, but I knew that I learned early on that if you can be a good person with a good heart and people to buy into you, then you can build success, and that's what sort of got me to this fucking point.
Who's the biggest character, funniest character you've met in football?
Our goalkeeping coach Xander Cowie. Fucking exceptional.
Is he brilliant?
Funniest guy you ever meet in your life. Mate.
Do I know what's his name?
Xander Cowie. That's MD mate who knows him. He's unbelievable.
Any stories you've got on him or any things he gets up to?
He's just muck. He's just
What a boost that gives you, man.
he's just carnage, mate. He's just mental. My big mate Dave is. I'll tell you, he's like a story.
Is he 10 steps, Mick, do you know?
No, he lives in Shilton. He's like a wind-up story, right? I'll tell you why the bit. You know, boy Beansy. Have I told you a story?
Beansy,
I've told you a story about him, not frightening. Fucking unbelievable, right?
He's got a mention on
So,
this.
you know, obviously Snoddy, that's good at doing the fucking prank calls and that, right? So, Beansy, 21, just left Harmony Row. Really good under 21 side, goes in and trains with Airdrie. I think Ian McCall was the gaffer at the point. A few training sessions, Ian McCall says to him, listen, there's nothing here for you, son, but if anything comes up, I'll let you know. So he obviously tells all the boys, we're out every weekend, that. 2 weeks later, I stay across the Beansy, phones me, you're in the gaff, I need to come here and see you. Come here, he's like, I need to give something to wear smart. How what's up? He's like, Hartlepool manager's just phoned me. He had lunch with McCall today. He was like, fucking sign me. Right? Now, my mates hadn't even told me I'm leaving in this.
But you know.
No, right? It's not, I don't know. I'm just like, right, cool. What do you need? He's like, I need to give me a fucking something smart. I went, cool, I'll bring it in 15 minutes. So, phoned me back. He was going to meet me in the town. I have to meet me at Celtic Park now. You need to get me a suit. He wants me to put a suit on. Right? This is a fucking good story. Swear down my daughter's life, right? No dramas. I went to his house, right? Gave me suit. His dad's in the bin, right? Looking for the paper to find out what Hartlepool in the league. Right? This is the fucking truth. Right? No bullshit. So he's like, right, cool. I'm like, no dramas, bro, the best. His ma jumps in the motor, driving along. Phones him. He's like, listen, I just came into reception and just asked for me. I'm upstairs meeting Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill's the gaffer. Beansy goes up to the front door reception. I'm here to meet fucking Cy Ferry. Guys like that. He's like, take a seat, mate. Sits down, right? Phones him back up. I'll be doing in 2 minutes. I'm like, are you wanting soup or prawn cocktail? He's like, prawn cocktail. No worries. Right? Sat for another 15 minutes. He's fucking like, what's going on? Phone goes like, listen, I've just spoke to Martin there. I've agreed to sign Didi Ragat instead. Sorry. He walks out of Celtic Park and they fill up in a transit. Well, that fucking get absolute true story.
Who done him with that?
Big McD.
Big Mick D.
That is a true story. Word for word. Unfucking believable. Thing is, I know, didn't even fucking pick him up. They just went away and left him. He's mad to come back and get him. Fucking grim, mate.
Brilliant. Is he a good player, Lindsay?
Top talent.
His boy's a good player. Isn't it? Say like
He's a good player. His boys get a chance.
Have you any other pranks like that? Anything like that? I was unbelievable.
Any players ever pranked you? Slightly ever pranked you?
No, he's no, to be fair. Players are fucking descanted me a couple of times, by the way. So we used to at Cobo Park, right? We used to, that's some video somewhere, I know. We used to fucking talk about respecting the gaffer. That's why I think you're too tight with the boys there. We used to go after training, we played in Cobo Park, we used to get something taken away after training. We used to go down to this wee shop in Motherwell. We used to train at fucking Dale Park. And say that way you're ordering something taken, I can just feel everybody fucking drifting behind you, do you know what I mean? Places jumping. Me, Chrissy Craig, fucking descanted.
I know, Chrissy, he's a legend. He's a legend.
Descanted. Right in the group chat.
Maybe Chrissy Craig's a good link for the next one. Any players you played on against that you can understand why they play at level, Chrissy Craig must be
He's exceptional.
Mate, I grew up with him at Anderson. He came through Rangers.
So he was, aye, mate.
He's the best. Mate, still to this day, his ability is the best I've ever seen. He was a wonder.
Yeah, me a ball, mate.
So how did he not make
He
it?
get injured, didn't he? Get a bad
always
injury,
in-
didn't he? I think he got a bad injury, did you know? I think.
No, he had the bad injuries, but I think as well, things certainly how he coaches and at Rangers and all that. I don't
Remember
think
that-
they really
Against
go
us
on
that
and-
day?
Rangers done a documentary. Rangers done a documentary. I can't remember what it was.
Blue
It was
Heaven.
Blue Heaven. He was one of the boys that was in it.
He was just honestly,
and he was
he was
fucking
exceptional. What a guy, I know.
absolutely frightening.
Family
Aye.
are brilliant and all.
Great guy. Aye, really so talented. Such a talented
Is
kid.
he still playing, Chrissy?
I think he is playing somewhere. I don't know where it is. Actually, maybe amateur or something like that. But he's probably the one you look at. But again, back to this country, innit? Maybe not suited for the style of football. Maybe in this country, because he was so technically gifted, and physically.
He was your best player at Covo, wasn't he? Him and Daz.
Aye, technically, he was fucking on a different level. I mean,
Do you know with Chrissy though? It's you see these videos at players practice. I'm not kidding on. He used to be out at 7 in the morning, and it was a wee train park, and used to keep the ball up to 10 o'clock at night. Did not leave the pitch. I know it's a hell of a long time, but
That's a fair 13-hour shift.
Keep him, boy. It's 7 in the morning at 10 at night.
you're going to tell me he was drinking that, and yes, that's your next fucking line.
Just a wee 15-hour shift. 15-hour shift.
It's not done that for 10 years, thank you.
he's mad.
Well, 15-hour shift in the fucking
It was remarkable.
He was such a talent.
Steph Sterling was another one. Do you remember Steph? He was a kid at Rangers.
He was excellent.
Always liked
You
Steph.
could
He
watch
was
him all
extended.
day. Great boy, you know.
He's another
I was in
one.
Hong Kong with him actually.
Who else?
But I think like a lot of these young kids that are like obviously they get into young clubs and they didn't quite make it, and then they filter their way and they end up like at say like a Darvel or a Broomhill or whatever, Auckland Lake or whatever it may be. Just they find the happiness with football because
No, I think they'll be. I
I
think
think so. I'm just asking because obviously I'm just.
I think if you look back in your life and go like, I know I had an opportunity and you fucked it up yourself, because there's so many of the boys out there who had the real talent but had an opportunity and maybe didn't dedicate themselves to it right, or maybe to,
You know anything?
do you know what I mean?
Aye, 100%. Hey, successful. Have you seen any other ones, Mick?
Any other?
Boys like that who've been super talented, sort of.
There's probably boys just for the East End of Glasgow, I know, that maybe boys who maybe didn't make it but probably should have been, but again, just listen, there's so many dynamics you need to have a successful career. There's so many things you need to fall in line at certain times, and I think in this country as well, at times I don't think it's been, they senior environments are fucking ruthless. I can remember a story, actually, one of your boys who knew Darvel, and I won't name him because it's a bit of a personal story, but it was Dundee United, and he made a couple of bad decisions, but nothing horrifically bad, do you know what I mean? And needed, and I'm running a bit of guidance, a bit of support, and they released him the night because of it, and it was nothing horrifically bad, do you know what I mean? Like nothing, just the right times, just no putting their arm around somebody and try to protect them, look after them. I think this country sometimes one of the best at that.
That's terrible.
We're too quick to dismiss people because.
Sorry, Kev, when I obviously came back for the Amsterdam thing, so I wouldn't say who it is, but the players get told, like one of the clubs I was at, don't speak to him anymore. No, do you know what the worst thing about that was? They knew who I was as a person. It wasn't as if I was a fucking.
You didn't change, is it?
Didn't change.
Didn't change overnight.
Done that thing.
Aye.
But they get told, the players get told, do not speak to him, and at any cost.
But how do you come back? He's a person though. How the fuck do you deal with that? That's horrific, because it's your peers and all. You know they're going to tell you. Somebody's going to tell you that information. Do you know what I mean? How the fuck do you actually meant to deal with that? It's fuck. But then you've got boys again who are under pressure because they don't. Because if you speak to you, then they take you back to the group, and then the gaffer's like, everybody's in a fucking difficult situation.
I think it's a lot more open now, so isn't it? Like, we've had a few instances this year where boys have came to us and with personal problems, which I would never have went to a manager and done that.
You feel that you'd almost be looked at different and you wouldn't play.
I think back to my career and the particular thing I've talked about, the story with Scotland when I did what I did. Basically, they banned me from playing with Scotland for a few years. I was 19, 20 years old, and they said, look, you're not playing with 21s again. And the only reason I ever got back playing with Scotland was because of Bertie Votes coming in. He just decided to say, we're not giving a shit. We're in a precarious position here where we don't have players. I need to look at everybody that's available Scottish, and that's how I got back in. And I think that didn't happen. Like, back in the day, that wouldn't have, I would have still just have been that. He's doing well and doing in England, but he's not playing for Scotland because of what he did in that hotel room in Poland. Whereas, and like you say about going to managers, I went to managers, 2 or 3 managers, I think, in my time with my gambling issues. I won't name their names, but pretended they wanted to help, but really they didn't want to know because they were like, shit, how do I deal with this? And then all of a sudden you start realising that you're not on a match day on a Saturday, and you're not in the squad, and you're thinking, oh, and then that makes you feel even more isolated, and you're thinking, oh God, I wish I hadn't told him that, because he's looking at me in a different way now.
Aye, mate, your head's on.
And I'm just thinking, like, all I'm needing here is just somebody to put their arm around me and try and give me a wee bit of guidance here, or a wee bit of help, because I genuinely didn't know where to go for help.
So you play Falkirk next. That 11 done so well for you. Is it in your mind, are they starting again, or does the build up, the games leading up to that, will that affect your decision coming to that game, or do you say the boys, you've done so well for me?
What a question.
No, Jay, it'll probably change. So if you look at Craigie Truesdale, who was probably man of the match that night, I think, Craig only got in the team 2 weeks ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
We'll take him off you, mate.
2 weeks ago, he scored 2 hat-tricks, fucking...
I've seen that against Kilwinning, wasn't it?
But for being in the squad and no playing, and then all of a sudden doing really well, then so I don't think you can promise him the end. I think you just need to see how the next few weeks develop and how we do.
Then I drop him again, Mick, so I'll be on the phone.
See, on your squad, obviously, the Craigie Truesdale story, how do you keep... You've got top of 22 players, you win nearly every other week because you're sitting top of the table, doing I think you've only lost 2 games, Drew, whatever it is. How do you keep everybody happy so that when it comes to a situation that... How do you keep them all happy?
It's strange. So we're in January now, and I'm being honest with you, there's not one player's came to me and asked how they've not been playing this year yet.
Leave.
Not one.
It's the environment you create, isn't it?
Environment, mate, aye. And back to that thing about being very clear with people in the outset, say, listen, this isn't about you. If your main priority is you need to play every week, then the reality is just please don't come here because it's just not going to work out for you. So everybody's bought into it. Listen, it is such a tight group. I mean, they socialise well together, they look after one another. I think boys realise they're in a special environment, and that keeps you, I'm not saying it'll keep you there forever, do you know what I mean? Because we get to the summer, dynamics might change, but just now, I think they're all happy, they're all settled. Success helps that as well, to a degree. There's a positive to it and there's a negative to that as well. You're right, Kev, you're winning every week, so maybe the teams that are a bit more settled don't get an opportunity, but the other side of it is, you're winning games of football and you're competing, and that's hard to even find in this country as well, because there's only a certain number of teams that are actually successful season in, season out, so...
Where was your wee striker that I met on holiday? Jinky, is it?
He injured, so he's a good player, isn't he? Oh, he's excellent, mate. Technically outstanding. He's one of the boys, again, at Kilmarnock. Just...
St Mirren as well, wasn't it?
A wee bit. Just needs... Cuddled all the time, needs his talk to be loved, and it probably would have had that, would have made it, but wasn't in the next environments, and get sort of... When he needed that sort of everything about him, people weren't there to support him, and he sort of fell out of love with it a wee bit, but another such a talented kid as well.
You'd have done well playing under him.
I think I was.
I'd have moved in with me, I think.
I'd been brilliant. Me, you and Fergie. Striking name. Chrissy Craig out the back, 13 hours. But I'll keep Big Bob out.
Chrissy Craig out the back for
13 hours. I might just say, Simon, I should have said at the start when my head was scattered, that it's one of the greatest, it's one of the best things I've ever seen in Scottish football, what you, your staff and the players created that night, innit? It is one of the best things I mean, McCoy said his lifetime, but certainly for me, I can't remember in world football, that's McCoy used to talk about Scottish. I don't know if he was talking about Scottish football, but for me, I've never seen anything like that.
I would just like to see them beat Falkirk and then get a Celtic or Rangers in the next row, and I think that would be an amazing opportunity just to, as a reward for what you've achieved.
The biggest thing for me is, so you see results like that, but it was the performance more.
100%.
It was the performance that I enjoyed more than the result.
I think if she were to get beat, I'd have been happier. I generally would have been happy because I thought, like, at least we tried to. listen, you can't control the whole game because you need to respect the level you're playing against. But I think I'd have been happy irrespective of the outcome because I thought the boys put on.
Mick, did you get any texts for any famous people or anything like that?
Just some of the boys in the game, Snods and people you know. Now just boys I know who play senior football and that. A few boys down south and that who I know. And
Wally Miller sent you a picture.
He's a arse winner.
Something like that, wasn't it?
Chrissy Craig's keeps you off his arse, isn't he? Hey Mick, so electric chair comes out, you've got one day to go.
Oh, good.
What's your...
Well, it's going to be chicken rice and broccoli, isn't it?
No, but you can't for your last meal ever. So we're going to go for your last meal ever, you can only... Starter, main, dessert, what'd you go for?
Fuck that, I mean, that's a fucking hard one.
So we'll give you an idea, what did you go for again? Your starter, prawns?
Scallops.
Pancetta
for it.
Aye, what was your main?
Steak and lobster.
Steak and lobster.
Side
Was it?
macaroni, cheese, triple cooked chip.
Boy,
Fucking
Dundee,
quite high end there. Fucking hell, where the fuck that got to?
I know, fucking hell. Forgot his roots, the man.
You can't enjoy yourself and eat well,
yours,
does it?
Paul?
Forgot his roots.
Well, whatever you ever said yours, what was yours?
Back in Dundee, then speak to him, they were.
Start with pizza for main and pizza for dessert.
Chicken sandwich meal is.
Chicken sandwich meal.
Oh, so it was.
Sweet
Mayonnaise,
sour
wasn't it?
no, sweet sour sauce.
Dragged up. He's been dragged up, the boy.
Now what would you go for? I think you're a bit classy, mate, as well.
I'm a fuck man, East End boy.
Love
But
that.
you know what I'm eating now? Like, stop draw, Yipon. You know, try Yipon,
nice.
On
aye.
What'd you
Trinity
get?
Street, John
Taxes?
Street.
Aye, salt pepper chicken, satay fin noodles, exceptional.
Wouldn't mind that.
Going for a yip-on.
That would be, that's what I would have, because I'm eating that just now.
What about your dessert?
Dessert.
Can't believe you've not said Black Rooster and promoted it, mate.
Didn't need promotion at that.
Fuck it, nah.
Franchise now.
fine,
Franchise now.
Fuck it, nah,
Mate, they're
mate.
everywhere, man.
Fuck eating that. Don't drink that.
I want a question, Black Rooster. Why is it the fucking barbecue wings are hot as fuck?
Good on you. Test people.
They're not barbecue, mate. They're fucking roasting hot. It's like
It's all fucking roasted, mate. Everything's roasted.
everything's roasting it.
The extra mile's fucking roasted.
Wait, we need to ask him as well, any pet peeves? Anything that really annoys you?
I've got people on their phone walking in front of you, no taking anything in fucking their surroundings. And
that's
I'm
annoying.
fucking banging down the scooter and people are getting hit.
How far, I seen you flying in that, how far do you travel in that?
Finnison,
Mate,
Anderson.
he doesn't walk, top between at the bottom and doesn't walk it. Either gets an Uber or uses that
Finnison
scooter.
or Anderson. For Christmas time. Just up by a wee scooter down.
How the fuck do you navigate yourself right through city centre now?
Right through the town. I used to go down the Clyde the Battery, but now I just go right round.
Pet peeves, mate, anything?
Not really, mate. Nah, nothing.
Life's sweet for you, mate.
Aye, life's alright.
Brilliant. The guy
Any-
just
any-
on.
Si, do you know what, Si? Because I said the big speech here, it was lovely about Darvel. Do you want to say anything about it to end it? Because I think it should be such a famous thing that's happened.
What, in terms of what?
Don't panic
Sum it up?
now. Aye, sum it up.
No, I'm
I
incredible
think
achievement.
in our lifetime, I don't think we see that level of opposition in Tier 6 beating the Premier League team.
Performing like that.
Performing like that. It's not a surprise because
Yeah.
obviously Darvel last year winning the league, losing it in the playoffs. This year, I think you'll probably go one better and you'll see yourselves getting close.
Do you know what I was saying? I said it earlier on the show, it's good to see good things happen to good people. Not just him who he is, good guy,
Hey, boys,
but also Ross Meekin, who
Willie
plays,
Robertson.
Leggett, Edie, Willie Robertson, McShane,
Good
boys
lads,
that, Kirkpatrick,
Brilliant.
good boys who deserve.
Scott Ferguson's the only one in it, it's not
Yeah,
good.
he was the only one that didn't.
Nah, exactly what it was.
Hey, do you know what he's at? The best team at keeping the ball in the corner. I was about fucking 13 minutes in that corner, mate.
Possession boxes at training, mate, about the size of this fucking
The
pain.
referee was fucking doing my nutting at the end, though. He put an extra minute on, wasn't it? He wasn't blowing his whistle on the time.
94, he was trying to get Aberdeen one last attack, wasn't he?
That wee linesman's had free grub and Black Rooster since that. He never put that flag.
He'd been shouting that the whole time, hadn't he?
Black Rooster.
Black Rooster, wee man.
I'll tell you what, that was
gonna be for his dad.
we've not talked about it, but that was a howler for the line, though.
The ref. So when it happened, I knew it was onside, and that's the fourth official. I went, what do you think? And he went, the ref thought it was onside because he must have buzzed the line and says, are you sure that's offside? And he said, the line will say to him, no, it was tight, but it's definitely
Incredible.
Okay.
Max, safe, mate.
Cheers, thank you.